Welcome to the Football Retro Podcast.
The word welcome, I guess, is stretching it a little when you're an Australian in a place like this today.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Football Retro Podcast. I'm your host Johnny, and today I'm joined by Adasi, the stat man, Ak, the controversial,
Give it a bit.
and Fadi, our token black sponsor child.
What do you say today? I'm joined by it's someone
Vision
different.
or
It's always the same
It's like
people.
it's just different people. It's the same people every week,
Yeah,
mate.
bro.
But sometimes one of you's not here.
Just say.
Adasi's got a
just
busy
say today
schedule with
this person's
ScoMo,
missing.
and
Yeah, man. On the road a lot. I was in 2 weeks ago.
so today I'm joined by certain people. If you're not here, today I'm joined by less people.
Just say today we've got everyone back. We've got a full table.
So I can't say your names.
Like last week.
No. We don't identify. which
Welcome
names.
everyone. Welcome to the show.
We're on air.
What a day. What a day has been.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
What do you mean? What a day?
I
What
want
actually
to.
happened? Football wise or?
Yeah, football wise. Yeah, I want to. I'm celebrating here. I got a glass of wine. I'm celebrating.
Mardi Gras.
No, that was the weekend.
Looks
Are
like
you
it.
celebrating or are you grieving?
No, celebrating.
Looks like you're celebrating Mardi Gras.
Liverpool's record winning.
Ah,
They're on a
Sorry, record breaking season.
bad slump at the moment.
How many losses at home now?
Six in a row.
Six in a
Club.
row.
Alex Muscat sends his regards to you.
Alex Muscat, this one's for you, brother.
Big Liverpool
6 in a row.
fan. Not happy.
Hey, every podcast, if I mention Liverpool, first person to inbox me, oh, funny coming from an Arsenal fan, this and that, talking shit. Past few weeks, been very quiet.
So for all the Liverpool fans are saying that they've used about 18 or 19 different centre back combinations.
They're all because look
This
at our
year.
injury list. No one's ever been
they
injured
do
like
have
this.
a pretty big injury list,
Listen.
guys. Why do you guys
No,
hate
no,
it
no,
so
no.
much, man?
Let me explain something.
Wait,
Let me
let-
explain something.
Fadi will talk.
Let me explain something.
Yeah, no,
Arsenal went
Fadi
through a
was so-
form where we lost a lot of our players, and everyone's like, "Oh, but you're supposed to be champions. You're supposed to have depth." Blah blah blah. You don't spend money. You're tight asses. Now Liverpool want to cry foul. They think that's only happened to them. Nobody else in the history of the Premier League since its inception in '92.
Mine's less
Please shut the
sooky and
fuck
more
up.
factual.
I think, yeah,
my,
look,
my, my, sorry, my
I'm
argument.
not
they've had injuries,
I'm just
but
telling
not
them-
they're not the only club that's gone through it. So
I'm just telling them to shut the fuck up.
Well, that's what I'm
Not
saying. My,
sooking.
my argument is less sooky and more factual.
It's not sooking. I'm just telling them to shut
But
up.
what I'm saying is, they've lost the last 6 at Anfield, right?
Yeah.
The only goal they've scored all year at Anfield was a Mo Salah penalty. Yes, you've got injuries, but your front three are still your
Yeah.
front three. Something in the midfield is still mostly your midfield, so you're still not scoring goals.
No, because Virgil van Dijk defends and-
Attacks.
and
That's
attacks.
the changes.
Yeah, and he assists and everything.
Irons the shirts, washes them.
Just
I-
imagine
Fire.
Muscat's steam coming out of his ears now. He's ready to.
I
fight
just don't
basically.
understand the Liverpool hate. Like I mean, every
You know
club
why?
has a bad
It's
season,
because they
but you
talk
guys
sh-
every
they
week,
talk
both
too
of
I
you.
think as well.
They talk too much
I
shit.
think for Liverpool as well, and Klopp's teams tend to do it, is that they fade off. They have this system where they full throttle. They work very well. It happened with Dortmund as well, and then all of a sudden they just gas out. They run out of gas.
Listen, this is second
that's
season
what's
champion syndrome. You can't win the league and then just flop. You can't. That's not a sign of a champion team. I'm sorry. Look at United. United did it for a very long time. They had no excuses. Are you telling me they didn't go through injury periods? What? So for 12 years they didn't have any injuries.
Man City as well. You look at them; they did it consistently as well.
Doesn't matter.
Leicester
No
didn't do it.
excuses. Huh?
Leicester almost got
Leicester
relegated.
was a
there.
one-off. Leicester was a one-off. It was never going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm talking
No.
about the big teams. The teams that claim that they're big. Like Liverpool try and say, we've won it more times than United. Okay. What?
And another disappointment, I think, Liverpool, Thiago Alcantara. Hasn't really had a good season.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
After the season he had with Bayern.
Yeah,
You know what? I think it's been a bit of a flop of a transfer, right?
I
We
think
forgot
so.
to mention him last time in flops.
Thiago. Interesting.
Yeah.
But once again, it goes back to the home ground advantage over. And COVID's taken that away.
Oh,
Yeah.
badly.
I think.
Badly.
No, but I think with the crowd, Liverpool, there's no way they'll lose 6 at home
On the trot.
in a row
Yeah.
Who knows?
against Burnley,
Well,
against
so you're
Fulham, against
speculating.
Brighton.
Yeah.
You're speculating now, so who knows? Could be one way, could be another.
He doesn't
Anyway,
give him
speaking-
any room, mate. Any
Speaking
room.
of-
No, but no. Sorry. Tell like why you don't like Liverpool.
Yeah, what's the real reason, mate? Let's get into
Because
this.
they whinge a lot. They all
Nah, come on,
complain.
deeper than
There's
that,
a-
mate.
No,
I've
they
heard
all
you say
fucking
that before.
complain. Every year's their year.
Let's use our year.
You know, whenever anyone won it, they always talk shit about them and whatever. Oh, but we won this, but we've got Champions League. Well, shut the fuck up. You took your fucking 65 years to win a league. Like, get over it. You didn't win the Premier League since its inception once.
So you're saying you don't like YNWA?
Yeah, YMCA. Bunch of poofers.
Wow.
Alrighty.
All right, moving right along.
No. Speaking of 6, There's another 6 team here, Johnny.
6.
Yeah, 6.
I think you got the score wrong, Fadi.
Yeah.
Oh, I got 7?
Yeah, 7.
Oh, sorry, but I was trying to soften the blow a little
You
bit.
dumbass, Fadi.
So, no, Fadi's talking about Germany against Brazil
Yeah.
in the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah,
It
we're
was
just
7-1
reminiscing.
That
scoreline.
was fun to watch. That
Reminiscing, yeah.
was fun.
Yeah, moving right
Okay,
along.
Johnny.
So,
Did you actually watch the game this morning?
I caught and watched the first half an hour. It was 1-0, so everything was okay.
So you're amazed.
Then I
you're
got
like,
called to
yes.
work. Next thing I saw, we were losing 4-1, 5-1, 6-1.
Just for the
By
viewers,
we,
mate.
who are you
Who's
referring
we?
to?
What are you talking about?
So
Wanderers.
Vélez at home
okay.
lost to Boca Juniors. It's not a good day.
One
That-
off, you
That's
think?
why I'm wearing black.
One
It's
off.
been a morning.
7-1.
I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on before
But
I turn this show off
But
and we
I asked
stop
you-
the show
hang
right
on a
now.
second. I asked you a question before,
Yeah.
right? Now, last episode we spoke about how home ground advantage is important, blah, blah, and you mentioned, I don't remember if it was on camera or off camera, you mentioned something about how Boca Juniors have struggled this year because they have no fans, whatever. So you're pretty much talking shit about Boca, and then they came and fucking slapped you in the face.
I
and pretty much said,
disagree.
"Shut the
So
fuck
I said they struggled at home. I said Boca Juniors have probably the most intimidating home ground in the
Yes.
whole of Argentina.
up." Correct, you said that.
And they still haven't won a game at home all year. They've freaked us at our house,
so it was,
but they haven't won a game at
So it
home.
was a bit of a backhanded, compliment or a bit of a jab, whatever.
You say they took all their chances, didn't they? Boca?
They had 7 chances, scored 7 goals. We had about 4 or 5, we scored 1.
100%. It was a 100% conversion record. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
Was it exactly 7 shots on target and 7 goals?
I'll look at the stats later. and,
Was there a penalty?
No.
Was there a red card?
There should have been in the first 10 minutes, but Boca always get leniency with the referees.
But let's ask you a question. Did anybody get sent off from
No.
your team?
No.
So,
Just efficiency, mate.
alright, Johnny's
Alright,
really
we
good
were
at
coming
guys.
first. I think,
Shit.
pretty sure Arsenal's coming like 12th or 13th.
10th.
There you go, I'm sorry.
Alright, move it on, mate, before you
Alright, so
fucking
Barcelona have a new precedent.
just get to a full
Yeah.
argument, mate.
Yes.
That was a quick change of topic.
Yeah, it's Juan Laporta back in the role. He was there for 2003
Again?
to
Yeah.
2010. Won the elections this morning.
By a landslide.
Yeah.
They must be sick of the fucking... There must be a lot of turmoil
They
there.
reckon that this is a very important step for Barcelona. They need, given the struggle they've had, not just on the field but off the field.
When was it, Ak, that we spoke about Messi going to PSG or Man City or leaving, and he was done and he wanted to leave and he's come out and gave a statement,
Yep.
gave a legal letter to Barcelona saying I'm out of the
100%.
club,
Yeah, yeah.
and they held on to him for legal reasons, so they don't blah 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 blah. And then we said, okay, so he's definitely leaving in June.
Yeah, 100%.
He's-
Yeah.
And then I've come out and said, not so fast. He might leave
Yeah.
in June, but in March is going to be
The election.
the elections,
And
and
we'll
he
see how
might,
that plays out.
and he
Yeah,
might
you,
change
did,
things.
you did say that. I'm actually surprised. You said something halfway intelligent. I think that was pretty good, Johnny.
Thank you. That's the best thing I'll
I-
take from you.
I think.
hell.
Yeah, well, you can.
I'll think what? And he just killed. He just died.
No.
He just fell off a cliff.
I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay.
You think he's staying out?
What was the
I
thing
think-
that the president said the other day that we all reacted to, Johnny, on the WhatsApp message?
What he said was...
I ignored that message just to fire. So I
You
don't
ignore
know.
all these messages,
About
mate.
8% of expenses.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah, I
there
saw
was
that,
a big,
actually.
there was a leak. There was a leak about how much Messi earns in his contract,
Yeah.
and that was a big controversial point in regards to his Barcelona in financial turmoil because of Messi.
Yeah.
So this new elected president have come out and said that a third of the income that the club makes is from Messi and his marketing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
His
huge.
marketing power.
It's absolutely
and
huge.
Messi costs the club 8% of their expenses.
So he's pretty much come out and backed him publicly to say, hey, he's not the problem here. Like we value him, obviously, blah blah blah, whatever. What years was Laporta at Barcelona?
2003 to 2010.
So he was there for a successful era.
Oh, the time when the 6 year, the trophies in 1 year with Guardiola.
And you think,
Stop touching his fucking dick.
but you think I can't hear you.
Alright,
Talk. So you think from 03 to 10 is when you build up the club and the team to where they were when Guardiola was there.
That's right. So they had a very successful
and that
period.
signing with Ronaldinho as well was key.
That's right.
That's a huge signing.
Oh yeah, not just with the Ronaldinho signing, but you would have to give them credit for the Frank Rijkaard signing. For
Yes.
and he was really instrumental in turning the club around.
Yeah.
I remember that loan deal for Edgar Davids.
Yep.
It
Oh,
was,
that was
really
it.
helpful for that one
That-
season. You
that-
remember that,
I
Adasi?
totally
helped
forgot
him.
about that.
And,
Yeah, you forget a lot about a lot of stuff,
and
eh?
Samuel Eto'o as well.
I got to deal with bullshit a lot of
Samuel
time.
Eto'o. Huge.
Samuel Eto'o.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. How can I forget that one? 2006.
Yeah.
Fuck we.
Why? The Champions League final.
It's called that little toe poke.
Yeah.
I don't know how they fucking got that in. But
That was the Champions League final you lost, right?
yeah,
Not the one that you won.
we didn't win one.
Ah, just wanted to bring it up.
That's for you, Alex Muscat. He got one back for you because you can't talk because you're a pussy. You don't message. You don't comment on the fucking podcast. You just private message people. Like a little bitch.
Comment on the channel, guys. Comment on the videos. Come on.
You
Help
say,
the-
say
help
it,
the
man,
algorithm.
say it.
Help the algorithm.
Say it,
Come
Akram,
on.
that's your
We
line.
really need your support.
Mr. Algorithm and
Statman.
And what was it, Johnny?
Token Black. Sponsored African kid.
Old Vision.
man.
$1 a day, guys. Please help us out to get Fadi on the show.
A comment a day.
I thought they were sharing a microphone. What are they holding them now? Who's got the
Yeah,
shit
no,
on now?
they just...
No, I fixed it.
They didn't want to share COVID.
You fixed it.
Yeah, I fixed it.
They didn't want to share us with COVID.
Tech man now.
What are they sharing? It's not a dick. It's a fucking microphone.
Wouldn't be the,
Alright.
first, wouldn't be the first time.
It's a
Alright.
very Mardi Gras
Jabs
theme today. I don't
Jabs
know
there.
why.
You're talking about it, not us.
Bro, you're holding it like that. Like,
So
what
it's
can
not,
I
it's
say?
not a G-rated show today, so
G.
when we publish it,
TG.
R-rated.
I've never. You know what? There's nothing G anymore. It's all PG and up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone gets
Everything
offended by everything. Ask Akram. Alright, let's
Open
jump into
slate. Hey, it's open mic today.
Far out.
Let's jump into the topic.
Jump.
Here
Well,
we
we're
go.
10 minutes in. We haven't even talked about the topic yet.
About 11 minutes in, yeah.
Far out.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
to talk about Johnny's shit.
Someone's angry. Alright.
Yeah, it's Johnny.
Ooh, yeah,
Football. So tonight's topic, football moments. Alright,
Yeah.
so
Plenty of those.
nothing in particular in regards to, it's for us, just what stands out. Like we said previously in other shows, this may be an episode that we do over and over again because obviously there are that many moments throughout history that we can talk about all these different things that have happened in the sport. But let's touch on a few today.
I think moments can be also subjective because
Yeah.
they might be more important to people, someone
Yeah, absolutely.
specifically
Yeah.
than others. But
Oh, yeah.
there's going to be some general moments that a lot of people agree that are massive.
Yeah, real personal ones
footballing
can be
moments,
really, really good.
Whether
Yeah.
they're results, trophies, or just iconic moments.
Yeah.
And the list we have here is a mix. I mean, it's a mix from goals to violence to... there's a big mix.
Yeah.
So let's start off with a big one. The Zinedine Zidane headbutt.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, mate. You're really starting off with a bang, eh?
No, with a headbutt.
No, there was a bang as well.
He's warming up because he didn't know what to say, so he had to just fill in airtime.
Yeah, no, it's just warming up. No, it's because it's Fadi. It's a massive moment. I remember watching that at, what was it, 4:30, 3:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
It was
What time was it
crazy
exactly,
time.
Statman?
4:30 in the morning.
Four-
No,
No,
but what
the
time was the
exact
actual
headbutt.
headbutt? 4:48?
4:32.
What minute was the headbutt? Wait.
Alright, no, you want to be specific. There was extra time, 100 something minute,
Yeah,
Okay.
fine,
110th minute, I don't know.
Yeah, but 100, what
But
time,
Peter,
you know?
I need to
What,
know.
the
I need to know
what
Zinedine
Sydney
Zidane.
time,
Yeah.
Germany time,
No, not
Antarctica time,
not Sydney time. We just want to know
the minute,
the game.
it was extra, okay, it's extra
We
time.
know it was extra time, yes.
110, 109 mark, whatever it was.
Bro,
We're
if
gonna
it's,
find
if
out,
it's
yeah,
this,
yeah.
if it's this, I swear to God, I'm not continuing the
Just
show.
walk off the...
Fun stat, the referee was Argentinian, by the way.
Yes, that's right, he was.
Elizondo.
Here we go.
110! 110!
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow. I'm the stat man.
Fucking hell. How do you remember that? Like, this is
saw
15
that.
years ago.
Yeah, but I saw it
15
so many
years.
times and it's just in here.
It's just in there. In that brain
But
of his.
that cuts me up, that game. That headbutt, as you're talking.
Oh,
What-
mate, it
what
was
does it tell you
unbelievable.
about?
It was unbelievable.
Just the way one of the greatest players I've ever seen, the way he left the game. I think, but it's bittersweet because the way it was Materazzi, who's an absolute scumbag.
Yeah, 100%.
But the way he left
Come
the
away.
game,
Okay,
why,
so-
why is Materazzi a scumbag?
Well, I'm gonna
he's
have
a dirty
my own
player.
opinion
He's always
when
been
you
a
guys
dirty
finish.
player. He's always been a
Yeah,
grub.
he was always known as a
He
dirty
was.
player, man.
Is he dirtier than Pepe?
About the same. Oh,
Okay.
maybe less.
No,
a bit more.
No, I think a
Wow.
bit more, man. I think a bit
More.
more.
Oh, okay.
Because Pepe had like snaps of anger where he did something stupid. It's not about that. Materazzi, for his career, would always try to get little digs in,
But that's
little
part of the
jabs
game.
in.
That's part of the game.
Mate, it is part of the game, but that doesn't mean it's a
Still
full part of the
I'm
game.
guilty of that myself.
Still grub.
Along
But-
with a cheeky little ball flick
Fatty.
of
Fatty's a
the
grub.
opposing
A cheeky little
attacker.
ball flick, eh?
Yeah, like when you're
A cheeky-
defending, you do a little thing, or you step on the heel with a stud, or
No,
you
but
step on a
like,
toe. Just
and
little
for
things.
me, it was just the fact that, like, look, you know, you might want to play all your tricks and shit, but against Zidane, like against, you know,
Wait, stop.
But he's the most influential player. Of course, you're
Stop.
gonna do
Did,
against
did
him.
it work?
I mean, yeah, you can argue that it worked, but
If he didn't get sent off, they could have won that World Cup, French.
There you go. So
For
Oh,
me-
could have. I'm not saying they would have. Could have.
no,
For
I
me-
reckon they probably would have
For
too.
me, that moment was very upsetting. I love Zidane. I love that they convinced him to come out of retirement to come back and have another crack.
Yeah, the context
Because
around that.
2002 was such a massive flop
Yeah.
for France. Obviously after 98 and then Euro 2000 they won, so they did the double. 2002 they flopped, they went out in the group stages.
2004 timid exit.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
So, and then Zidane left, and obviously I love Zidane as a player. You know, top 3 of my all-time ever greatest players. So for him to come back and to have one final crack at the World Cup, I really thought France had an amazing team. A lot of the players were at their peak, the peak of their powers.
Good squad they had.
They had a great squad, and I thought they deserved
But
it.
he carried them, that team. Especially that game against Brazil, that
That's
quarter-final,
right.
man.
That game against Brazil, he was massive. He was all over the park.
Destroyed Brazil.
But the thing is, right, the context is so important because, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you'll know Adasi, but they were struggling to qualify
They
for
did.
2006.
They were struggling.
He had to be pulled out of retirement as well as Lilian Thuram
And Makalele.
to come out of retirement just to qualify.
Yeah.
So the context from that to take him from struggling to qualify to the final,
Yeah.
and like you guys mentioned, sorry I cut in about that Brazil game is special. Those YouTube videos, man, are fantastic to watch even today.
It was
Yeah.
rainbow flicking and stuff.
Yeah,
like the
it was
players,
all
I
sorts of shit
remember.
around there.
Yeah.
But that 2006 game as well, that moment especially, why it hurt me a bit more is because I hated Italy in that tournament because of what happened in the Australia game.
Australia,
which is another
yeah,
point that
the Grosso-
we spoke about.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, of
I feel
course.
like Italy shouldn't have made it that far in the first place.
Yeah.
So when France got there, I always had a soft spot for France. A lot of Arsenal
Yeah.
players. Obviously, I love Zidane, and I thought France has got to win this.
Yeah.
France has to
How
win
old
this.
was Zidane at that time?
34.
Okay.
It was
And-
his last World Cup.
Yeah, and
And,
it was last World Cup, last
Yeah, the
professional
game.
football game ever.
Yeah.
And the thing is like imagine the stage was set.
Yeah.
Last game ever,
100%.
had to be pulled out of retirement just to qualify,
Yeah.
just to get there.
It was set to
Played
be a thing.
obscenely
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Like honestly, if they finished it off, if he won that second World Cup, he'd be up there talking about like with the likes of Maradona and Pele as the
I
greatest
agree.
of all time.
I agree.
Why did he retire so young?
I mean, 34, to be honest, Zidane was never the most athletically gifted player in terms of speed and agility and things like that. When you do start to hit those middle ages of in your middle 30s, you are starting to slow down a little too much for himself. And after you hitting that height with Real Madrid, what would you do next as a 34-year-old?
If you love the game and you want to keep playing, you find a way. I mean, who won the best player of the tournament that year?
Cannavaro.
Cannavaro.
Cannavaro,
But Zidane would have been
He would have
far
got
off.
it if it wasn't for the head.
He wouldn't have been far off. So I'm saying he's probably one of the best players at the World Cup, and yet I'm sure he had another season or two in him. That's what I'm saying.
I guess so. You're probably right. But then, don't they always say that sometimes it's best to leave a little early before leaving a little too late?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, though, I think the era was different. Now with sports science and all that, I think players have a bit more longevity in them. Whereas early 2000s and that era, when players start to hit 33, 34, a lot of time it would be the end of their career.
True.
No one really went on after that. Now players are going to 35, 36.
Late
True,
30s,
true.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different. Us goalkeepers aside, obviously, but I feel like with sports science and how football is now, very scientific, it's prolonged players' careers maybe 3 to 5 years more than what they normally would. But generally, from watching, football from the mid 90s to early 2000s, most players retired around that.
It was.
Before 35,
You're
most
right.
players had already
Yeah,
retired.
early
Yeah.
30s, yeah.
So I don't think
a lot
it
more
was
common.
really out of place. In today's day and age, you'd say 34. Yeah, he still had a couple of years. in
And
him.
honestly, the circumstances surrounding his club career was a bit funny at the time. I mean, Real Madrid had all these, Galacticos, but at the same time they were struggling.
Wasn't that very successful.
It wasn't successful. That whole experiment had kind of failed by then. Players were starting to move on. Had Figo left by then?
He had left.
He had left by then.
So he retired at Real Madrid as well.
Yeah.
Is it done? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He
he,
just left everything.
World Cup final in Real Madrid. That's way of
And he had other interests, as we've seen. He's wanted to get into coaching, wanted to do other things.
That image of him walking past the trophy.
Oh yeah, that's
that was
shattering. Shattering.
that's iconic if there ever is
So
an
we'll
image.
talk about the headbutt. I think later on it was discovered what Materazzi actually said to him,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
ages later.
Yeah.
People kept speculating about what was said. What was said.
and it didn't come from Zidane either.
No.
Yeah,
He's still not talking about exactly what was mentioned.
Yeah.
So something about his sister, is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Something about his mum and his sister.
Family members, yeah.
But still,
But,
Zidane, you would expect.
there's
You would have heard shit
there's
like that.
actual
million
one
and
theory
time.
that Zidane did the headbutt because he didn't want Dominic to win the World Cup. There's a theory
Nah,
that.
that's
Come
That's
on,
what I
man.
heard. I don't know
Come
if it's
on,
true, but
man.
yeah.
You wouldn't tarnish your chance of winning a World Cup, but
Yeah.
just because
Nah.
you want to get back at someone.
But if they won the World Cup, they would have been the worst coach to win a World
I'm all
Cup.
for controversies. We're going
But
conspiracy
conspiracies,
theories.
yeah.
That's what
But honestly,
I
like,
sort
to be honest,
how much
Zidane's
do you
always
believe
been...
of that? How much do you believe that theory is true? How much? Give us a percentage.
From 1 to 10, how likely is that true?
Put the pressure on.
3.
Okay.
But to
Yeah,
be,
why
to
do you
be
even
honest,
mention it then? You don't actually believe anything of it.
Zidane's always been a bit of a
That's
hothead,
right.
though.
It's like the moon landing.
Oh, he has.
Yeah, he got red carded a couple of times. You know, a few stamps on some people's arms and legs because you know.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't his game where if you pushed him, he would
It's
react.
an Arab mentality.
Well, but
Yeah, it's a log thing.
I thought he's French.
He's Algerian.
Algerian.
Anyway.
Algerian French.
Same as Kadira being Turkish, is that right?
Holy shit. Some wog, bro.
It's because a red flag.
It's wog.
But it comes back to my point. As much as you think it's grubby and all that, to win a World Cup, you have to do whatever it takes. If I'm a defender and I'm marking the best player in the game, and I'm able to tick him off or get him sent off,
Yeah, of course.
you do whatever it takes.
Yeah, of course. No,
Look,
I'm
I
saying-
mean, whether you want to
I
defend
just
it or
don't
not,
like Materazzi fucking dog.
yeah, whether you want to defend him or not, I can't see myself ever saying, yeah, fair enough. Like, it's
You're
Zidane,
too
man.
clean,
It
bro.
was, yeah.
You're cleaner than your fucking
So you
clean-shaven
rather
beard.
you rather lose a World Cup final and be sportsmanlike than do a bit of a cheeky stab and win a World Cup final?
Cheeky stab, I'll fucking rape someone if it meant I could win the World Cup. You'll
Whatever
do
it takes.
Bro,
Look, I get
the
what you're
World Cup's
saying. I get what
within
you're saying.
reach.
Anyway, no, I get what you're saying, but
Do you think it would have
It's-
went to penalties is my question? Or they would have scored?
Nah,
If you
I
didn't get
think they
sacked-
would've scored.
10 minutes to go.
Nah, I think penalties.
no, mate,
Look,
look,
I don't think it was a. France would have definitely won it,
Yeah,
but I think France would have had more of a chance with having the leader, the captain.
yeah.
Your
Zidane
confidence
would have
goes
taken a
down, your
penalty.
morale goes down.
He would have taken one in the
Italy
shootout.
was hanging on at that point.
yeah, that's what
I
I'm saying. Like,
remember the game. Italy was
the
hanging
momentum
on.
was with France.
And that
Yes.
header Zidane had in that save from Buffon was one
And
of the
you
best
had
saves
about
I've seen.
you had
That's
about
the-
10 more minutes
That's the thing. I was
left.
asking if it went to penalties. Italy have a massive advantage with Buffon.
Yeah.
Massive
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
it comes
true.
to goals.
Yeah, Barthez. Yeah, looking at the
But
final,
that's what's
Buffon
crazy about
set it
that final and how Zidane left because yes, he before the head, but he's got a Panenka against Buffon.
up. Yeah.
In a World Cup final.
Against prime Buffon,
That's
man.
having
Yeah, well,
your
to
testicles
me-
that big.
Yeah, bro.
How can-
I agree.
How big Tony- how
And that
big
just
was
that
crossed
big,
that
like
hit
each-
the crossbar and it went just over the line. That was
It was beautiful. Like who does that?
Yeah.
That's
What a legacy to
Like,
find
he
a
would,
move.
like I reckon half time he would have walked there with a wheelbarrow and his testicles in him. That's how big. That's you think
great.
about it. Like it's a World Cup final.
Yeah,
It's a
bro.
penalty.
You gotta be fucking ballsy to do that shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if he won that fucking final
Listen,
after scoring a Panenka, man.
in a normal game, you would have to be ballsy to do that. Let alone at a World Cup.
Bloody
Let
oath.
alone at the fucking final.
And we've seen players go
That's-
for Panenkas and really fail.
That-
Cristiano Ronaldo was one of
Yeah.
them.
That was probably the best World Cup final I've seen in my lifetime. That one.
Wow,
France,
fair
Italy.
enough.
France, Italy.
Yeah, I think
Just because of the drama and
it
the
was a good game to watch.
Yeah.
Tactical
Yeah,
battle.
it was
I
actually a
just
great game.
found it like to be a fascinating game. That's my thoughts. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Fuck,
sticking
we
to
lingered on that point for a very long time.
sticking to the
Yeah.
World Cup because it's probably one of the best World Cups we've seen in a long time.
I enjoyed
was.
2006.
Yeah,
that
06
was
was one of my
amazing,
favourite. Especially because of Australia's appearance as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that Italy, not the game, but the moment. The Lucas Neal going to the ground, the Fabio Grosso diving / falling,
Diving.
yeah, well,
whatever,
it's like-
whatever you want to call
What
it.
slash?
Yeah, it was a dive.
Exaggerating.
If
He
anyone
fell.
wants to debate this point, please hit us up. Fucking message.
Yeah.
Respond to the fucking YouTube page, Instagram post. Say something because
forgot Facebook.
I'll fucking personally answer you.
So you think it was a dive?
100% he fucking dove.
Would you call it a dive or would you call it exaggerating the contact?
He exaggerated the fuck out of whatever minimal air went past his fucking shin,
They were analysing
and
that.
he leapt over him.
They were
Okay.
analysing that, and they said, "Oh, because Lucas Neal had his little arm out that
Oh
made him
please,
Yeah, it was
please
a joke.
shut
fall."
up.
It-
I reckon. Okay, let me
That
ask
was-
the question. If there was VAR back then, would have been given a penalty?
Yes.
Ah, fuck
I
off.
reckon.
then.
I reckon whatever.
No,
With
he's right,
with
but that's
VAR,
because of the
With
state of VAR now.
VAR, like, is the softest thing ever.
would have taken
true,
10
yeah.
minutes. To
The
look.
smallest of contact in slow motion looks like he killed
They would have
Grosso.
gone for 10 minutes. They would have gone for 10 minutes looking at that. 10 minutes. I would
Yeah.
have looked at that easy.
Yeah.
That game,
And then afterwards, Fadi's favourite referee will come on the pitch to the VAR sign.
yeah, motherfucker, we know what you're looking at. Like, we knew you watched the fucking TV. Just tell us what it is. Like, you gotta blow the whistle.
But so, are you giving no fault to Lucas Neal for going to
no,
the ground?
Lucas Neal's a fucking idiot. As a
I think,
as a
wait, sorry, I
person-
think you've reached your quota in swearing.
I know, that's fucking-
That's a fire episode.
15
It's
bro.
been
minutes.
less than 25 minutes. You've reached your quota. I'm sorry.
Okay, Lucas Neal is a silly human. Not just
Very politically correct.
not just for that game, but for his entire career.
Why?
Oh, he threw away his money and he got into
His ego
Yeah,
got
yeah,
yeah,
personal
really,
issues.
yeah, yeah.
his ego got big when he got linked to Barcelona. Actually,
He was
Why?
into Barca.
he went into like a little bit.
Why? From Blackburn. What did he do? Great.
Regardless, we had an Aussie linked to Barca. Now it would be impossible. I don't want to get into that topic again. But, sorry, go back to Lucas Neal.
So absolutely, he was stupid to throw yourself in a tackle like that in the box. There's always a risk. There's always a risk.
And let's put context. So, 90th minute? 91st
No, it
minute?
wasn't 90th minute.
Close
No.
towards the end. Because last
It was
kick of the
towards
game.
the
Wait, sorry.
Okay, what minute was it?
It was
Give
towards
us a minute.
stoppage time.
What
Adasi,
minute
give us
was
a minute.
it?
Give us a minute.
Towards stoppage time.
No,
No,
well,
what?
give us an exact number.
90 plus. I don't know.
He was in the
92,
90th
93.
92. No,
92,
90. No, he's giving us 92.
It was because it was last. He scored it, and it was the full-time whistle.
All right,
went.
92. That's his guess.
No, I thought it was earlier than that. Okay, look, I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing a possibility here.
So I'll keep looking for it.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
So it was Italy had a red card.
Wrongfully as well, actually.
Why?
Because I think Materazzi tackled his own teammate, and then he got sent off. They found
there's
out.
no
They
VAR
said
back
that
then.
he tackled Bresciano.
Materazzi, man.
Yeah, 90th minute.
But they were going to
penalty.
penalties. Australia, Hiddink was playing for penalties of extra time.
What was it, Johnny?
It says 90th minute, so I'm not sure if just the website
Yeah,
says
so I won't
90th.
say because it's 90th minute, so it'll be in the stoppage time at some point.
Just go to
Yeah.
YouTube and see if you can find the
There
actual
you go. 90. It
clip.
was towards the end. Trust me.
But anyway, Johnny,
Materazzi got sent off.
and
Yeah.
not only that, Australia were on top.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
remember
we
in
had a few chances, I recall.
Yeah.
Italy was playing terribly,
Yeah.
and I remember a lot of Italians that I knew were so angry about how they were struggling against who's Australia and what's all
Yeah.
that sort of crap. And when that happened, I felt we were so close. And because we
Yeah.
had Schwarzer,
Yeah.
we would have had a chance at penalties.
Yeah.
We would have had a chance at penalties.
Yeah.
Schwarzer's a massive penalty keeper.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen that against Uruguay, obviously.
Yeah.
But in general, he was always a big presence. So our best chance of ever getting past Italy was penalties, and we were that close.
And he was playing for extra time. I think Aloisi was coming on as well. I don't know if he did come on, but
Hiddink was smart.
Yeah.
Hiddink knew what he was doing. Hiddink carried us to that
and
tournament.
Kuhl was injured too that game.
Yes, we had
No, Kuhl injured. What a shock.
we had the golden generation.
Considering he scored
Obviously.
the win against Croatia, the tie against Croatia, then he had gout or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
was that when Kalic tried to make his money back on the gambling?
Yeah. But, and Emerton was suspended as well that game. So we had a couple of players out.
Anyway,
In saying that, like, yeah, the Aussies were on top, and you had the feeling that we were going
Italy
to
was
take
rattled. Italy was rattled
Yeah.
because they couldn't find their way through. Didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They were out of ideas. Hiddink was very smart in
Yeah.
his game plan and how he, nullified the threats from
Jeez.
Italy.
Hypothetical. If they beat Italy, they would have gone and played Ukraine. And beat them, gone and played Germany and France in the final.
Well, obviously would have lost to Germany, but
Yeah.
But semi-finalist would have been massive.
right. But
Yeah.
still, and that's why I think Italy never should have made. And then that could have been Zidane's World Cup. So
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of variables, a lot of what ifs there.
But I tell you though, like regardless, it broke the hearts of many Australians over here. That
Well,
was
let's
tragic,
go.
man.
Let's go back one step. So you mentioned, let's hypothetical once again. Australia would have gone past Italy. Hypothetical would have gone past Ukraine.
Yeah.
Would that have changed somewhat the sport in this country
No,
if
Also-
Australia became
No.
semi-finalists of a World Cup?
no, because
Not too much.
Even a tiny bit.
you know why? Because what Australia already achieved by qualifying in the manner that they did in such dramatic fashion, by getting that 3-1 win against Japan in such dramatic fashion, by qualifying
Second
to
round.
the round of 16, right? That enough.
Was a bonus.
That in itself should have been sufficient. We didn't have to get to because we didn't get to a quarterfinal, then we're not really.
Yeah.
It's not really an achievement. That in itself was an enormous achievement.
So off the topic, do you think?
And we got past teams, that weren't small, got a result against Croatia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they pushed Brazil as well in that group game too. As well.
So off the topic, do you think that the achievements in Australian football are undervalued by society as a whole
Yes.
and underappreciated by football fans in this country?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't think that golden era is spoken about enough, or people appreciate how difficult it was to take a team qualifying for a World Cup for the first time in 30 whatever years it was, since the last time they did, by a coach who had just come in
Doing it part time as well.
part-time, hitting, who didn't have enough time with the players, to carry them to execute a game plan with players that he doesn't have day-to-day, interaction with, and get them as far as they did and push Italy as far as he did. It's not spoken of enough. It's not
No,
given enough
100%.
credit.
But I think Johnny has a point in saying that if they were to hypothetically make it to semi-finals, like that's a quite a powerful label, semi-finalists in a World Cup. That might give it some kind of extra credit. But like overall, I'm still inclined to agree with you, Fadi. I don't think it would have changed much. Maybe then the couple of years after, but you know what? Unfortunately, we've seen it in other countries as well. Whenever they do really well for one tournament, look at Greece winning the 2004 Euro. Didn't exactly spark some massive revelation in their country footballing wise.
Because they're broke.
They're struggling big time.
Because they can't even fucking eat feta and bread.
Mate, hey, you passed your quota, Fadi. You passed your quota.
Feta,
This one's for you, Stos.
feta and Kalamata olives.
Yeah.
Anyway, man.
I don't know why. Like, obviously, I know why, but when you think of football moments, everything you do in a World Cup sort of is multiplied and magnified.
Yeah.
So every moment in a World Cup becomes even bigger than what it is.
You know what I loved about that World Cup as well? There was a lot of promoting, especially in Australia. Because we qualified.
that
It
was
was massive.
So media
the
attention.
vibe
Does-
around the country.
What about that ad? The
Jose.
history
Oh,
ad.
history ad, yeah.
I am history.
Oh, yeah.
What about the
that
other
was
one, the Adidas one?
Which one?
When Jose is playing, when he's picking.
and he thinks he
Oh,
goes,
yeah,
I pick
yeah.
Beckenbauer, and then Beckenbauer comes out running. Jose,
Massive
Agasa.
ads.
Zidane was in there.
I
That was a great ad.
I love those. I love those history ads because
Yeah.
you had all the players like the history comes and says, "Oh, I'm history.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
'cause I'm against you," and then Bresciano will kick the ball and hit him off the stands.
I think the
or whatever.
the whole vibe in the country was
it
great.
got people saying something like, "Yes, we're going to do something." Like it got people G'd up. Now, what are they doing now?
The whole
There's
vibe,
not
right?
promoting. It's just junk.
The excitement, the vibe in the World Cup in this
Yeah,
country was
it
amazing.
was.
The
It
2006
was.
World Cup.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's part of the reason for that is like you're saying, the promoting and the coverage of it.
Yes.
It was all on SBS.
It was everywhere.
It
all
was
over the
it was
place.
like easy to access.
Yeah.
100%.
Nowadays, and back in the day, football was a lot easier to access. Not just World Cups, but club football.
Yeah.
You know, EPL was on Fox Sports, and Champions League was on ESPN. It was easier to access. La Liga was still on ESPN, right?
When
Back in 2006.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Serie A as well.
you need to subscribe to 3 or 4 different things just to be able to watch any
And
kind of football.
It's becoming annoying to watching football these days
So,
in Australia.
that's it. If I want to watch Champions League next year, what do I do?
Yeah, you're going to have to tune into Sports Flick. These guys that show Nicaraguan football, Indian baseball, and women's football as well.
What
Women's football, which fucking
I don't know,
country?
somewhere.
Oh, sorry, retracted.
Yeah.
Just edited it.
Mate, they're not our sponsor. Why are we talking about it?
But
No,
yeah,
so
so
I have to sign up to something else now. to
yeah,
watch
so
Champions
you
League.
need to like
Which women's football do they show?
somewhere in Europe.
What do you
Yes,
care?
they
You're not going to
will.
watch it anyway.
I just want to know.
I don't know.
Is
Just-
it the women's American League?
Adasi, which one is it?
I don't know. Just Nicaraguan
French league?
football. No,
Women's
Spanish?
French league?
probably.
Italian?
I don't know.
It's actually International Women's Day, so.
Oh my god.
Oh, is Hope Solo playing?
No, I don't like Hope Solo. Playing with herself,
Yeah,
maybe.
so
Anyways, well, let's moving on. Speaking of World Cups and thinking of big moments,
Here we go.
the Baggio penalty.
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's a
Now you're talking about the defining moment for a player's career, eh? What do you think, Fadi?
Enormous. Enormous, huge. I remember
Enormous.
watching that game specifically. I was overseas. My uncle was a big Italy fan and a Baggio fan. And I was obviously a Brazil fan being a kid. And then Brazil.
So as a kid, you were Man United fan and Brazil fan.
you were going to bring that up.
Bring it
That
up.
was coming.
We were learning so much about you
I
in
was
this
fucking
podcast.
10.
All right. So, anyways, moving on.
So yeah, I remember we had a bet. We bet.
And you're betting from a 10 as a 10-year-old kid.
I had a bet with my uncle.
Fatty's tips are coming tonight. All
I had
right.
I had a bet with my uncle for 50 reals, Saudi reals, because we were in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And I said, no, Brazil's going to win. He said, no, Italy. And it was the best 50 reals I ever made
Did you buy a goat?
when Baggio scored his
But
penalty.
yeah, it's funny that they talk about Baggio and everyone talks about that penalty. And
Yeah.
sadly as well, like, because he's more than that. And Johnny Walker made an ad about years ago, and that Baggio not walking alone, whatever it was, and they mentioned that penalty. And
In '94, was he
Yeah.
top 3 in the world?
I would say so.
yeah, he had a good
straight away.
tournament. Yeah,
Was he a Juve then?
Yes, he was.
yeah.
He was at Juve and he was playing, superbly well. Everything was looking great for him and all that. As we know with Baggio, he ended up having a lot of issues with players and coaches in his career after that. But imagine just scoring that penalty, tucking it away, finishing off that World Cup. I think Baggio would be talked about a lot differently now.
Yeah, that definitely, that's definitely what he's remembered for. No one remembers his time in Serie A or what he achieved with the clubs he was at. It's more about that penalty.
Especially because he's, in terms of trophies, he's trophy cabinet's pretty bare.
Light,
Never won a Champions League or European Cup or UEFA Cup. I think only one Serie A title in his entire career, which is insane when you think about the clubs he's played for in the 90s.
And no one mentions as well, like that 1990 World Cup he had a breakthrough tournament.
Yeah.
He scored that against Czechoslovakia. That time was.
But that was let's just say that was a very nice Italy jersey, that World Cup.
So he won the Serie A.
94? Yeah.
He won the Serie A twice.
I love the college
Twice?
jerseys.
Yeah.
95 with the Juve and 96 with Milan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, something popped up actually on my socials last week maybe, and it was a penalty for Baggio, and they labelled it as, Baggio redeemed himself after the penalty miss for
That's
the World
right.
Cup. And I'm like, how does that redeem?
Which was the 98
It was
one.
the 98.
Yeah.
It was
Against
the 98
Chile.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how is that redemption?
I think
you didn't win. You didn't
no,
win.
I get it. I think it's more like revenge. Like
No, it's not.
in regards to I'm here again and I'm taking a penalty in a different
You
World
lost
Cup.
the World Cup final.
I get it.
What did you beat Chile in a normal game?
Draw that game actually.
Okay, whatever. Fuck.
It's the stat, man.
How does that compare?
Oh,
How
what
is
was
that
the score that game?
redemption?
2-2.
How is that redemption? But honestly, what the fuck? That deserves a swear.
No, I'll give you that one.
But how is that
I love
redemption?
annoying these
How's
guys
it
with my
redemption?
stats.
How's it redemption for your World Cup final miss that hands Brazil the trophy? Like you missed the penalty, they got the trophy. Redemption.
That's not
You
redemption.
scored a penalty against
No,
Chile.
I get it, of course.
Hey, Higuain couldn't do it.
He also scored in a shootout against France.
Yeah, that's
one. The
there's like
quarterfinal.
Doesn't mean shit.
I'm just saying,
That means
mention it.
nothing.
It's a fact.
He
No,
missed the
but
penalty.
it's a
that
fact.
It wasn't even a penalty of one of the five, like other people missed
No,
after
no,
him.
it was.
He missed the one. He missed the defining penalty
That's
that
it.
gave Italy,
Well,
that gave Brazil the trophy. That's
yeah.
it.
So is it unfair to judge him?
No, it's not
Based on
unfair.
that.
No, it's not.
It's
not
a
unfair.
little unfair to judge his entire career.
His whole career.
His whole career. That's what it was.
If you go and ask any football fan say Baggio, they're going to say 94
I
penalty.
agree.
They say that, but do you say like that defines him though?
Yes.
Okay, for you
Okay,
to define.
so we're not allowed to speak.
No, it does not. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You're 100% right, and it does define him.
Next.
But my
point.
question is it unfair to?
I don't think it's unfair.
Look, I think it's a little unfair, but at the same time, like that's football, and that's the way.
People remember the big moments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
how
the
it
way it is. Sometimes life is a little unfair.
For the casual fans, are going to remember what he did in Serie A, unfortunately.
That's right.
Exactly.
I guarantee they couldn't name that he played for both Milans or that he played and did what he did.
Did Juve as well.
He had a massive 1990 tournament as well.
Yeah, he had
That's
a
what
great
Adasi
tournament.
spoke about before. It was
That
his
goal
real
against
coming out.
Czechoslovakia, it was a great moment.
There's a Netflix documentary coming out on
Yeah.
Baggio.
Anyone know when it's released?
May something. 20
Oh,
something
that's gonna
maybe?
be exciting.
Forward to that one.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to watch.
Maybe we'll review it for
yeah?
the channel.
Yeah.
You know what? You're a movie critic as well.
Do a review on that.
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore shake today. Don't review Coming to America. It's no good.
Oh, really?
I'm so disappointed. I've
Don't
heard
watch
many bad things
Are
about
you
it.
just
I'm
saying
like,
that's what upset Fadi some more?
was a letdown.
I'm very
Bit of a
disappointed.
letdown.
Very, very disappointed.
You didn't watch
it's
it
too
last
politically correct,
Did-
Oh,
apparently.
you did?
Is
I
it?
did on Friday
Apparently,
night.
that's what I heard. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. You tell
I've
me.
seen it. Yeah.
All right. Go. I'll give you guys a choice. Do you want violence or another World Cup moment?
Violence.
All right. The Eric Cantona kick. Eric Cantona kick to the Crystal Palace fan.
How could you not? How could you not
Yeah.
mention that moment as one of the most defining moments in football folklore? Like,
Yeah.
it's such an iconic moment for a lot of fans. And when you mention the name Cantona, two things come up: his chip goal with his flick collar,
Yep.
Yeah.
and fly kicking the fan in the
Yeah,
ground.
100%. What
There's
makes it so
nothing else you-
iconic for you, Fadi?
Because it personified Cantona as a character.
Yeah.
He was very there in your face. He didn't care, and he did whatever he wanted to do, and he didn't give a shit about what happened.
And I mean, looking back, well, part of what's funny about it, and part of what's, the legacy to the moment, isn't just that he attacked a fan, but he fully fly kicked the guy.
Not only that, he went
Only
to
Cantona.
Not only
You know what?
that, he laid
Karate
him
kick.
punches to the goal.
Yeah, but it showed you that he was no different to us. Like when we play, if we got angry, you wanted to do the same thing. He just had the balls to do it.
But
No,
he
but
literally
it's
jumped.
also iconic is a press conference afterwards.
Yes,
Yes.
something about
So I've
seagulls.
got it here. Fadi, can you read out what he said in the press conference? And this is, sorry, by the way, this is all he said. So he said this line and then walked out.
And he got
This was the whole press conference after he kicked a fan and was suspended for I don't know how long,
Yep.
6-7 months.
9 months, I think it was.
All right.
Wow,
So what was
so-
the whole
Was
press
it 9
conference?
months, Adasi?
something like that.
I think, yeah, okay.
What did he say, Fadi?
Quote, when seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea.
And that is how.
And he got up and walked out.
And he walked out.
Yes.
And there were tens of journalists just sitting there, what the f...
He swore.
Oh, it's my
Right.
quota done.
Wow.
What do you mean your quota done? We're already past the quota. So you can't
My
say
quota.
it.
My quota.
Doesn't
Dude,
matter.
how
There's
is that your
it's a
quota
group
done?
quota.
Fatty's quota's
Oh, man,
15. Why
use
is
the
just
limit,
one?
mate. Use the
Half.
limit.
0.5 for Adasi.
It was a group quota and I took it all.
Took it all, man. Hog, man.
So we do remember, like, Cantona is such an influential character for Man United, and we spoke about this in previous episodes, how thanks to his figure, so many international fans started following United,
Yeah.
and yet one of the moments that defined him the most is once again a
Yeah,
kick
look, he
to a
was
fan.
he was one of the first foreigners in the Premier League in that early Premier League era when it became the Premier League.
Yeah.
In the early 90s. So he was sort of a pioneer in that regard.
Do you think it defines also, like, it's because fans can relate to him, and like sometimes you just feel like fly kicking
100%.
someone?
Yeah.
And this guy went ahead and did it because
Yeah.
it's not the right thing to do, but something you want to do. So you go, you know what?
It made him more relatable. Like you
Yeah.
relate to him on a human. That's why I said when we play, you want to punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
You know, when you get angry. The fact that he could do that and not care,
Yeah.
and he still showed this, didn't give a shit about what they said.
I think it's a funny one because it probably does make him more relatable,
Yeah.
but also at the same time more larger than life in some ways.
Yeah.
Because not many players could do that and get away with it and still be so beloved.
Apparently, did he get charged like by police? I thought he was going to, and then they
I
didn't.
can't
Something
remember, and I'm
along
not
those
sure.
lines.
Don't think
They
that's
spoke
charge
about it.
related. But yeah,
But football back then was different.
yeah, I wonder
You could
with
get away with
I
murder.
wonder with Cantor like what his career would have been like internationally, like with France, because no one talks about it. But I did hear that
Yeah.
he did have clashes with David Ginola
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. He
And
did.
Just imagine if France had Cantona, Ginola, I think Zidane as well was coming in at the time, had that dude.
Mid-90s?
Ginola
Yeah,
was,
mid-90s, and they missed out on '94 Cup as well.
Wow.
Ginola was a little overhyped.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you know that Mr. 94 World Cup?
Yeah, we've
France.
talked about it
We
before.
talked about it in Bulgaria, knocked him
remember.
out. And Ginola's
Yeah, I
mistake.
did not remember we talked about it in the episode about the 98 World Cup.
Ginola's.
That was like episode number 3 or 2.
Ginola's overrated.
Yeah, he had his
That's
flashes.
one for the overrated, underrated episode.
He got public enemy number 1 in France, Ginola, for that mistake against Bulgaria.
Yeah.
They hated him.
He's just a Tottenham flop as well.
He just wanted to.
Tottenham and Liverpool, mate.
Cantona overall, great player though.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Great player.
Like him in the game.
100%.
Another one that comes to mind that we spoke about before.
Why is
So-
Mike France so high?
Sorry?
Why is Mike France so high?
Because I'm hiding my face. I'm embarrassed from what happened this morning.
Can't escape that, bro.
The 98 World Cup final.
Yeah.
And there was a moment there, or it wasn't so much a moment, but more a situation that happened. What was that, Adasi?
Yeah, the Ronaldo R9 mystery illness before the game, and Roberto Carlos was saying I think he had a seizure in the team hotel, and then he was out of the team sheet, not playing, not in the lineup, and there was speculation whether he was going to play or not. And then
Has anything been,
just-
has
just-
anything been clarified since then, or?
I don't think there's been
I
an
don't think
official
so.
story.
Not an official
There's
story.
been a lot of rumours and people said, oh, but
Yeah.
this is what it was or
Yeah.
whatever. Apparently that he wasn't feeling well, and then he had to tell the medics that no, I want to play the final, and then they
And then
finally had to give him clearance. or
Literally
whatever.
last minute they put him in the lineup, and Edmundo was going to take his spot in the starting lineup.
But you could tell in that final when you go back and watch it, he wasn't himself.
Yeah.
Nah, he wasn't.
When he went and played.
You
It
could
wa-
tell
it wasn't
that
Ronaldo.
Brazil
I
parents
think
that
I
walked
think
out.
there's more to it that we don't know.
Yeah.
It can't just be he was feeling sick and that's it.
I mean, to be honest, I don't mean to speculate too much, but I thought I heard it was a seizure.
That's what, from what I heard, Roberto Carlos was saying.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, not much has come out to confirm that. It's-
I heard
mystery
stomach
illness.
illness or something stomach bug. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
It's
There's
But
definitely a
lot of
story
rumours.
if he
never-
played and he was at his 100% fitness, yeah, it would have been a different final. And it's a shame because that was a great tournament.
Yeah, he was coming into
And-
his peak as well at that
Was he
time.
at Inter?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was clean. He was an absolute machine.
He was the best
for
player
England.
of the tournament, to be honest,
Yeah.
until that final.
94, he was in the squad, but he was obviously
He
still
was
young.
17
Yeah,
on the
didn't-
stage.
He was very
So
young.
he was
I
on
don't
the
think he
bench.
played,
Yeah, so 98, he was just starting to flourish.
Could you imagine if he won that final, Fadi?
Yeah. 3 in a row.
Yeah, he would have been part of 94 World Cup win. Obviously, he wasn't. He had played a big part because Romario and
Yeah,
Vito and
yeah.
there's all these other players who were ahead of him. But then 98, he would have been starring. 2002, he definitely starred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three World
I
Cups.
think that
That would've been
98 Brazil squad was one of the best squads I've seen.
Really,
That
yeah.
was a great squad.
And that ad, the Nike ad at the airport. How funny was that?
yeah.
Come on.
That was amazing.
I
Those
love
ads,
that.
those ads were the best, man.
Yeah.
Those ads were the best.
Yeah.
They don't make those ads. I'm
No.
disappointed they don't do that shit anymore.
Nah.
Why don't they?
I don't know. Ask someone who's
When
in
was
media.
it? What was the last?
Ask Michael Turner.
What was the last? Great ad.
I would say Nike Cage ad.
That was a while ago, but
Yeah. They're all a while ago.
The Pepsi one, the Manchester United Real Madrid one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I didn't mind that.
The,
It was a bit too fake with shit. They did it with Beckham as well, kicking the ball from fucking so far away and getting it into fucking buckets and shit.
yeah.
so next year we have the Qatar World Cup. Let's hope a good ad
Honestly,
comes out.
that Qatar World Cup feels like it's been talked about for the 15 years. It's
Because they
taken
gave
so
him
long.
like 12
Yeah, I know.
years. They announced it 12 years before that.
Yeah, because what do they want to do? They want them to change the desert into a normal country.
We changed the entire climate.
Corruption.
Anyway, it's a topic for another.
Corruption. All right. Let's talk about the Vambustin 88 goal.
Yeah, like, you know what a moment, eh? It's not a moment that I think, like, obviously preceded all of us, but it's definitely a
me.
moment. Sorry? What'd you say, Fadi?
I mean, preceded us. It didn't precede me. I was 4.
I was,
Dude, we were all
one.
born, but we
I
didn't
was
watch
one.
it, man.
You said
I was
preceded
alive.
like we didn't exist.
Alright, moving on, mate. Moving on. The point
I
is
got
that
offended. I got offended.
it's
Triggered.
very, it's very hard to do that, Fadi. I'm
calling
so
him old.
surprised.
triggered.
Yeah, I'm entitled to be.
Anyway, moving on, mate. Moving on. But the point is that, like, yeah, that was a goal that, like, a lot of people discuss as one of the greatest goals of all time. I always was
Can you
curious
describe
about
the
it.
goal to those who don't know the goal? Because there's a lot of viewers
Yeah.
that say,
Sorry,
I like what
true.
you're talking about.
And the context.
And the
Yeah,
context.
a lot of people say, I love what you're talking about, but I didn't know what that was.
Well, 1988, I mean, Holland has never won a major tournament
Which
until
is the
then.
European Championships.
Yeah, sorry, the European Championships.
Because it wasn't a World Cup.
No, it wasn't a World Cup. It was
World Cup
European
was Italy
Championships.
90, and before that was
Mexico 86.
Mexico 86.
Oh, anyway, Holland had never won a major tournament since up until then, and you know, I don't exactly remember any of the times. Adasi, maybe you would.
Nah, impossible. Nah.
Yeah.
Stop.
I was 1 year old, for God's sake.
Okay, but
But if
so
you
what?
remember this, I swear to God.
You don't know what Mina Vambustin scored, do you?
No, I don't
Do
know.
you want to give it a guess?
No. Don't make him guess.
No,
Can I guess?
ruin
Johnny,
his legacy.
can I guess
Don't
the-
tarnish
Can I
his
guess the
legacy.
half?
Oh, that's
First half or
easy.
second
Yeah,
half?
come on.
I don't
That's
know.
1 and 2. Like that's a
I'll
flip a
guess.
coin.
I'm guessing though.
No, there's no
Fair
guessing.
enough.
You're
No,
standing.
don't
Okay.
worry about that.
But anyway, Dan,
Fine.
look, I couldn't remember
You're gonna
that.
ruin your
I am
legacy.
human, guys. After all,
Yeah, ruin your legacy.
I
Stat
am
man.
human.
But the context behind the goal, I mean, you know, the ball was up in midair, flicked from a bit of a wayward pass from an impossible angle. You know, it looked like it was going out. There was nothing that anyone could have done, and all of a sudden,
was
Vambustin
it
jumps.
just inside the 18-yard box?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was more inside the 18
So if you're
yard
looking-
box.
so if
It was
you're
closer to
looking-
the 6-yard box.
So if you're looking at the goal, if you're looking at a goal,
Yeah.
to the right of the goal, between the 6-yard box and the 18-yard box,
right at a far angle.
closest, probably a couple of meters out from the goal kick line.
Yeah, the byline. Yeah, absolutely. And then you see
The
Van
byline,
Basten's big
sorry,
leg
mate.
just jumps out.
It's down the byline.
But yeah, you see Van Basten's big leg jump out and strike it. A
On
lot
the
of
volley.
power.
Sweetly hit,
What a
though.
volley at an incredibly sharp angle.
Diagonally across goal.
And then you see the coach just reacting like that.
And that was the final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Soviet Union.
Absolutely, and it was like just the instinct to try that, the moment, the anticipation to leap in the air like that and hit it with that kind of power and angle.
And you mentioned something there, like to try that because any other human would have controlled the ball or stopped it or
Done
tried-
something else.
Yeah.
Fluffed the shot, maybe. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
tried to
But
do that in
even,
the ball.
what Johnny's saying is like to
Yeah.
even try to even think
Yeah.
like I'm going to go for that kind of opportunity.
Yeah.
is what makes Van Basten one of the greatest scorers of all time, doesn't it? A lot of people have been talking about it in the last few weeks. I've been listening to some commentary. Yeah, some podcasts, and a lot of people have been discussing it in terms of comparing it to Diego Maradona's goal in the 1986 World Cup.
We offended him.
He's off.
He's already upset about.
He's walking off.
He's already about.
Come on.
My opinion, just to put out, I think Maradona's goal is better.
Goal of the century you're referring to.
The goal of the century,
not the
yeah.
hand of God.
Not the hand of God, but but the goal of the century, Fadi. And what a lot of people say is like, yeah, look, Maradona's pirouette to get away from the England press and then to attack the defense obviously was fantastic football. But like that's the kind of football that you kind of expect. That's football is like, well, what would you expect Maradona to do? Players have done things like that many times. Messi's tried things like that.
Away from that goal because
yeah, absolutely. But I'm just kind of like
no one else has done it.
I'm like just paraphrasing what commentators have tried to argue, where Van Basten's goal is a moment of almost impossibility, where it was a goal that looked like it was a ball that should have gone out. 9 times out of 10, that ball would have gone out.
I don't know about going out, but like I said, you wouldn't think about
you wouldn't take
shooting.
a shot. You wouldn't hit it on the volley coming down from the.
It was an iconic jersey too. And you got
I
that.
love that jersey.
It's
I
an
love
amazing
that
jersey.
That
But the fact that you
amazing.
compared it to what's called the goal of the century,
Yeah, 100%.
should say enough as to which one was better.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I'm thinking Van Persie's goal. Sorry, Van Persie's when Rooney long ball, Man United.
Just for the record,
Yes.
Van Persie scored 3 other goals exactly like that at Arsenal before he went to United. But anyway,
Just for the record, Johnny. Just for the record.
he did it against Everton.
Has
he
nothing
did it
All right,
against,
let's mention one that will make you as angry. Cahill against Holland in the World Cup.
that was a great goal.
Yeah, that was
It's fucking same goal.
No, but
volley. So he's saying volley
you
and
know
all the
what?
volleys are the same.
But the difference is, I look at Van Basten and say Van Basten meant it. I look at Cahill and I think he just swung a boot out of there and hoped that it fucking going to
They're both meant it. Like
Yeah, but
Cahill wanted to shoot.
Yeah, but he was hoping that it was going to land properly and he'll hit it on a sweet spot through his laces. Whereas Van Basten is a genius, and I'd say, yeah, he's good enough to do that. Cahill, I would say, yeah, he's good, but
I don't think
he
it's the
probably
same goal
flipped it a
either,
bit.
mate. Like I think Van Basten's goal is the angle's a little more.
And that's what makes it better. Yeah, like I'm not
angle's a lot
arguing.
more-
I'm not arguing as to which one's better. 'Cause
Okay, fair
Van
enough.
Basten wins every time because of the angle and where the ball lands, and the keeper was standing right there.
That
And they
placement.
did.
Like how do you not get it? But then
that
you look at it.
placement was
and-
amazing. Yeah.
The place, yeah.
But the actual technique to think, why do you shoot when the ball's coming high and across?
yeah. Cahill had no other option. If he controlled the ball, he would have been swarmed by 6 defenders
Yeah.
Yeah.
and didn't know where to go because he's slow. So he wouldn't have done much.
But yeah, look, I'm not arguing with you. Now to compare it to the goal of the century is a bit. To me,
Yeah,
a
it's a
fast
bit
stretch.
rich, especially because like I think one of the most underrated parts of the goal of the century is Maradona's spin and turn to get away from the first initial tackle. That moment of just beautiful acrobatic skill, and then after that he beats that press, and then he's got acres of space to run through.
But I love the argument of it's Maradona. Like you expect that to happen.
It's
But-
not so
but-
much that it's Maradona you expect it to happen as much as like
Who
you
said that?
expect you expect attacking players.
Some podcast I listen to.
Yeah, you.
Sorry, I only listen to this one. I don't know.
Well, you listen to your recording and all you listen to yourself
100%.
again.
But like you expect attacking players, especially players that are good on the dribble, to attack the defense, to dribble through. Whereas look, the Van Basten goal is a moment like we said, you wouldn't expect. You wouldn't even expect someone to attempt it.
Speaking of goals like that, there's got to be one that's got to be mentioned, which is voted as one of the Premier League's greatest ever goals.
I guess. Can I guess? Di Canio?
That volley, yeah.
I swear to God, it's such a dickhead.
Jumps up.
It's doing it on purpose.
What?
Such an asshole. He's just trying to jam you up.
Was
I'm
it?
not going to buy it, Johnny. I don't care. No,
Was it yes or no?
I'm talking about the Bergkamp turn
Oh, the
against
flick.
Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
Newcastle, the flick.
We're talking about the volleys. I'm talking about Di Canio when he does
No,
You're trying to compare
no,
volley,
no. This is Bergkamp's is they've rated as one of the. Or
Also great,
they're
yeah.
arguing that it's the greatest Premier League goal of all time.
I saw that the other day.
No, I'm not questioning that, but I'm talking about long volleys.
Yeah, I remember
so the first thing that came to mind was Di Canio.
Yeah, the Canio West Ham goal. That was a great goal. I loved Di Canio. I loved him at West Ham as well.
Why does it
So
trigger
what
you?
is it? Yeah, what
No,
about
because
You
he
love
said-
the player
no,
that he
because
brought up.
Because I said because I specifically stipulated, voted the greatest Premier League goal of all time.
No, I thought you meant about the volley, like a long ball coming
But
through.
you weren't listening. That's why.
We're not
Anyways,
doing-
Bergkamp, can you once again explain to the viewers and listeners what the goal was?
Arsenal playing against Newcastle at Newcastle. Bergkamp's in his own half, plays a ball wide out to the left to Pires and continues his run. Pires plays him again, as Bergkamp's approaching the 18-yard box and the ball's coming towards him, he turns his back, receives the ball with his left, gives it one flick and spins the opposite way as the ball spins around the defender. So they both spin away from each other and come back and meet each other on the other side of the defender, and he's one-on-one with the keeper.
You forget one part
Hey?
where he pushes the defender
He didn't
illegally.
push him. No, he shielded
VAR
him.
would have called that back.
That's not.
No.
Listen, when you have possession of the ball, which is the ball's in front of you, you can shield. You should know this.
I'm
Johnny.
joking, man. To me, it's not a foul.
Fuck.
No, I'm saying VAR would have probably ruined everything.
Yeah, to me, it's not a foul. But like you're right, Adasi, VAR would have.
Why do you make me explain all of it? Then you just want to throw shit.
Like a wet blanket.
That's exactly what he just did.
Mate, you kind of deserve it after giving it to him about Velas before, mate.
You know what?
He's
Go.
so correct because I said that.
Show your bow goes both ways.
On that note, before we move on to your Fadi's hot tips,
Oh, I thought there was more things.
there are
in
more
this.
things, but we're running out of time.
Just quickly skim
That's
them.
having so much fun.
No, I want to have.
You work through.
I want to have another
to
episode on this because it's such a good
Okay.
topic, and there are so many football moments like we mentioned before, and we will come back and do more episodes. Like I said, there's a lot written down here that we haven't even touched. So I like to get into it in detail more than just skimming through them. Name me a personal moment for you being at a stadium.
It would have to be. Being at a stadium would have to be for me. The Wanderers ACL home win 1-0 against Al Hilal.
Your goal.
2014 Urich
Yeah, I
goal.
was there too,
Very
yeah.
scrappy game. We were playing against a much superior opposition. Stadium was buzzing. The old Parramatta Stadium was packed. You know, to get as far as we did was an achievement in itself, considering Australian football and the amount of money involved. We were minnows in that tournament. To get the win 1-0 at home was enormous, and then to go to Saudi Arabia for the second leg, because the Asian Champions League final is 2 legs as opposed to 1, a home and away. I don't know why, stupid.
Oh, they tried the one-off game in a neutral ground, didn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
But,
if you had a Wanderers Al Hilal played in Japan, who would go to the game? Like,
They tried that, they didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
I understand why. It's,
okay. So anyway, that aside, and then the second leg in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh, where thousands of Wanderers fans packed Centenary Square in Parramatta to watch the final live at, I think it was 4 in the morning or
5 or 6, 4 in the morning.
yeah, it was like 4 because then it finished and we were just celebrating and people just didn't know what to do.
yeah.
It was a 0-0 draw, so it wasn't an exciting game in terms of a scoreline or for a neutral, but for a Wanderers fan, we got away with murder that game, to be completely
So
honest.
to pick a football moment out of those 2 matches, is it the save, the Kovic save, the Urich goal, the final whistle? What's a football moment for you from that?
Okay, well, for that, to pick one specific moment, it would have to be the Kovic save
Okay.
in the second leg against Al
That
Hilal.
was huge.
That when that happened, I just had a feeling that it was our night. Even though everything was, possession was against us, they were just peppering us constantly. It was just a matter of time before they scored. They had 2 or 3 penalty shouts that should have actually been penalties. That didn't happen. But then when that happened, and then the Kovic save, I'm like, no, everything's just in our favour. It's just going to be ours.
All right, you guys, 30 seconds each. A big favourite, whatever, Real moment for you guys.
Real,
Or just football moment, because I know that's where their brain goes all the time. Like I can say netball, or go to Real Madrid netball.
Now he's thinking about something else.
So
Real Madrid basketball.
while you guys do this, make sure you have your tips ready.
My tips are ready, mate.
Alright.
My tips ready for you, Johnny.
Go, quick, 30 seconds.
For me, it'd be being at Telstra Stadium in Homebush, Australia vs Uruguay qualifier, definitely.
So what's the moment?
The Aloysius penalty and
Okay.
the pandemonium. Seriously, everyone.
How big? I wasn't at the stadium. I was
Yeah.
overseas at the time.
Yeah.
How big was Bresciano's goal?
Oh, huge! The whole stadium erupted. It was everyone's going nuts, and even this before the game, the lead up was so intense, and the national anthems, the crowd, which rightfully, wrongfully, booing the Uruguayan anthem at the time.
Rightfully.
And given that
Opposition
the people
team.
say, what they did to us back in Montevideo, and I was guilty. I was booing as well. So
Personal
I'm
beef.
so glad you
Were
could
you saying
confess
boo
now.
or balloons?
I was saying balloons.
I've been feeling guilty about that, Adasi, this whole time.
And then
That's
everyone
blasphemy.
wearing yellow. Everyone's decked down in yellow. Just got a yellow T-shirt from Kmart. and have a jersey,
Best and less.
something like that.
Got a yellow t-shirt.
It was what a moment, and the win when Alex's penalty went in was just
How much was the
pandemonium.
t-shirt?
Crazy, $10.
All right, give me your 30 seconds of a football moment for you.
Oh, honestly, I mean, when you brought up a Real moment for me, what would be the 2005 El Clasico, where the Santiago Bernabeu applauded Ronaldinho. I have to say that, like, watching that live in the middle of the night it was a breathtaking performance.
So how many goals did he score?
He scored
2. What was the score?
3-0.
3-0.
So the first time you watched porn in your life?
See where this is going.
Oh, yes.
It was an unbelievable, breathtaking
Would have been
performance.
this morning you would have watched Bellas.
He's back. I didn't watch it, so no.
Wow. No, you said you watched the first
The
half.
first 30 minutes? I wasn't porn. The porn happened in the second half. We got raped.
Sorry.
Why you make me angry? All right. So
Rape isn't porn.
Anyway, we're moving on.
a football moment for me. It's not my favourite. It's not the biggest, but it's probably one of, if not the goal that I celebrated the most in my life. Was 2018 World Cup Russia. Marcos Rojo against Nigeria.
I remember that.
Just the context of
Yeah.
the whole thing. I mean, Argentina in danger of getting knocked out of the whole World Cup in the group stage. It was dramatic. It was really bad for the whole country, for Messi, for having a shit coach. Like, it's Argentina's fault. But there was so much stress over that game. There could have been a penalty for Nigeria to make it 2-1 for them. The VAR didn't give it to them. It was 1-1, and out of nowhere, 80-something minute Rojo scored. And I remember screaming so much that I almost fainted from how much I was screaming. It was 6 in the
can
morning.
imagine.
I didn't sleep that whole night. It was a massive moment, and it was just relief. Like, the whole day afterwards was just, it wasn't more, it wasn't happiness. It was just relief that you're through to the next stage.
You nearly killed yourself, and for what? Did you win the World Cup?
No, we lost to France the next game.
That was a game Maradona was going
What was the
crazy.
score
in the
against
stands
France?
too.
Yeah.
It's like giving the fingers to
4-3.
people.
Huh?
4-3.
I remember that game. Was
Oh.
that, what's his name?
Cracker.
What's that right back's name?
Pavard.
Pavard.
What a goal.
Oof.
Di Maria's was a cracker
Di Maria
too.
was a cracker as well.
Yeah, I remember that, and it was back and forth goals.
Yeah.
They were very
Yeah.
quick.
That was Fadi's revenge for you bringing up the Arsenal 2006 Champions League. That's why.
Well, next time I'll bring a one that they've won, but I couldn't. So, all right. So let's finish it off
Just
with
like Messi's World Cup.
Fatty's hot tips. Well, they won it on the 20s World Cup, so they did win a World Cup.
Yeah, that's right.
Olympics too.
That's
There
what's
you go.
that's what's going to make his legacy as well.
Did Arsenal's women win a Champions League at
I
least?
don't give
Or?
a fuck about Arsenal's Champions Leagues anymore.
Alright.
We're never going to qualify for it.
Fadi's tips. Fadi's
So
tips.
Europa League.
last week, people are talking of, like, I'm walking down the street, I get stopped. Hey, Fatty's hot tips. Like, tell him to stick to Premier League. That's what I'm getting told in the streets. Don't get it from me. Don't take it on me.
All I'm gonna say
All I'm
is-
saying, all I'm saying is, like, sometimes when the traffic lights go beep beep, put your window down. I put my window down. They go telling me, hey Fatty, stick to the Premier League. He's got no idea about City Ange. So what do you have to say to those people out there?
All I'm going to say is, yes, you're right. Okay. But out of the last 8 tips that I've given, 2 being non-Premier League and 6 Premier League, the 6 Premier League tips were all accurate. So if you followed my lead for the Premier League tips, by now you'd be a millionaire. Just saying.
So I'm assuming that right now you're going to give us all Premier League tips.
No. I'm going to give you Champions League tips because the Champions League's coming up.
All right, done.
So this episode will be out prior to the Champions League, so everyone, you got your chance to get your tips in, and I'm not responsible for any money you lose. So if you gamble your house, tough shit. Speak
Come
to
on,
Johnny.
let's
I'm
go.
speaking to you, Demo,
Let's go.
because your brother was one of the biggest shit talkers. Stick to this tip, stick to that tip, and he had to come crawling back and apologise.
He did
after
apologise.
after my tips came off.
The Crystal Palace double chance was a good one.
$2.62. That was very cheeky.
Come on, give us some tips.
Okay, so obviously Champions League coming up. Few big games. I'll start with Chelsea Atletico, which I believe is Wednesday or Thursday morning.
I think Wednesday. Or next? Is it next week? I can't remember. I have to check
Whatever
the
it
schedule.
is. Chelsea
Darcy
Atletico.
can't remember. Oh, wow.
Well, I'm watching.
Chelsea
I don't
Atletico.
care about Real Madrid. I'm going Atletico.
Obviously Chelsea's up 1-0 from that.
Yes,
from that
Giroud. Johnny's favourite player.
From that
Giroud.
Giroud offside goal. Offside goal.
That's not till next week, mate.
Do you want a tip or not?
Go.
Fuck. Giroud scored an offside goal, which Johnny
wasn't
claims.
offside.
Yes, it was offside.
Good offside. Anyways, go.
Because you look at a feather touched the defender's foot, so it's onside. Rubbish.
Anyways.
In any normal time, it's given off. Anyway, beside that, jump on it early because the odds will start to drop. This is my hot tip. Atletico double chance at $1.72.
good odds.
Atletico's going to come out and attack. Obviously, they need to score. So, even if Chelsea hold out and it's a draw, $1.72 is good money.
Very good odds.
That's one. Jump on it because it's going to go down. When I put $1 million on it tomorrow, odds will probably be $1.20. Real Madrid at home to Atalanta. You're saying Real Madrid is not bad. I know my last Real Madrid tip didn't come off. They drew at home as opposed to
Yep.
win. But I have a feeling they'll do what they need to do against Atalanta.
What's the first score?
1-0 Real away. Home.
Okay.
So it's still very close. So if
How much are they paying at home?
They're paying $2 at home. It's very, very enticing.
Yeah, and Casemiro out suspended. That's
No,
Big
not big
blow.
loss.
not a big loss.
Come on, man. You're Real Madrid with $1 billion
Okay, I'm
in
saying,
budget.
alright,
One
well-
player's missing. Like,
Well, I'm saying he's an important player, so his presence might make a
who would
difference.
replace
That's-
him?
I'm hoping Valverde.
Done.
He's
Next.
This is my safety of the week. So this is a lesser tip, but if you have big money to throw at it, like I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, this is the tip that you go and throw money on. Demo, if you're listening, this is the tip for you.
I mean,
Barca PSG in the Champions League. I envisage will be a high scoring game. Barcelona terrible at the back. Always goals in this game. Both teams love to go forward. Both very attack minded.
Barca needs to go forward.
Yeah, over 2.5 goals in the game. $1.45. Yes, it's not the highest odds I've given.
But you multi it with the other ones.
well,
Bumps it up.
yeah, multi it. You'll pay $73 and you can put $100 on it.
Done.
Beautiful.
That's Fadi's hot
Gamble
tips.
responsibly.
That's Fadi's hot tips for this week.
We're not responsible for anyone you lose.
Good episode, guys.
yeah, it was
Yeah, no,
good
it's
fun,
good, man.
and there's a lot more to talk about as well later on.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely, like I said, come back to this topic. Any last words, Fadi, before we
I
leave?
gave you my tip.
Thank you,
Yes.
guys. Thank you for another amazing week. It's actually to the Liverpool fans.
Hustle.
It's actually to the Liverpool fans.
You didn't even talk about my jersey.
What was-
2013 Arsenal away jersey, Santi Cazorla, FA Cup winning.
Can you give me the chant before I stop it?
What?
The Cazorla chant.
I don't know the fucking Cazorla.
Oh, Santi Cazorla.
Don't
On
know.
that note, ciao.